what I want to do is play you a piece by Anand Giridharadas. Anand Giridharadas had some very, very important message that I think every single Democratic politician should be checking out. Let's go ahead and play Anand, and then we'll take it on the other side.
So while Congress is squabbling, many Americans, they're having to turn to food banks to feed their families.
I was working at a food pantry, actually.
And here you are now getting the food.
Yes.
And you were at one point distributing the food.
Correct.
You can live off your credit cards for so long. Your bank account, your savings account only lasts so long. Your bank account only lasts so long.
If it weren't for these sites, would you be able to get food on the table?
Not really.
It has been nearly 9 months since the government last agreed to provide some relief, if any, to the Americans. I want to bring in Anand Giridharadas. It's so incredibly sad to see that woman being asked about having to get food at a food bank and getting emotional about it, understanding what Americans are going through right now. So many people are desperate, afraid they're going to lose their housing. Their lights are going to get shut off. They're not going to have heat come Christmas time, just 2 weeks away. And yet you have Washington fighting over whether or not they're going to provide a stimulus check, which it seems like at this point is not even in the plans, or extended unemployment.
Yeah, I mean, it made me tear up about 3 seconds before your camera was going to turn on me. And it was so interesting while waiting for the camera to turn on, listening to Nancy Pelosi, listening to Washington technical talk, which is so removed from the basic reality that this is a country awash in pain right now. Look at that woman's face. Listen to her. There are millions of people she speaks for. And we're having these technocratic conversations about committees and this and that. And I understand, I mean, the real blame here is Mitch McConnell, is the Republicans, is the president, is a party that does not want to help people, that is working on one side to actually make sure the pandemic kills as many people as possible. That seems to be the logical consequence of their policy. And then to make sure that all the people who manage to survive it, despite their policy, suffer economically and beyond. But it is also the case that Democrats are not meeting this moment with the muscularity required, even the rhetorical muscle required. Why aren't we hearing thundering speeches from Joe Biden, from Pelosi, from Schumer, making this case in a way that bends public opinion, forces Republicans into a corner? This is not about Medicare for all right now. We're not talking about sweeping social policy. It's not about, do we reduce our footprint of empire around the world? This is emergency relief in the worst crisis since the Great Depression. And we're having this little Washington committee talk instead of talk of muscularly dealing with the restoration of some balance in people's lives, some stability, food on people's tables. And you have word coming out yesterday or today that in Joe Biden's meeting with civil rights leaders this week, he was skeptical of the claims people make about his executive authority. He is not as comfortable wielding that executive authority as others are comfortable with him wielding. This is not a time for milquetoast. Watch that woman again. Watch that woman again. Watch millions like her. This is a time for dramatic, sweeping action.
Exactly. This is a time for real action. So here is my question right now to everybody. What is it going to take for all of us as a country to be able to see the Republican type of ideology and what it is doing and has done to our country, not only fiscally, not only ideologically, but actually morally? Because what they have done, and it didn't start with Trump. Trump was just the bold face of honesty. And imagine that I'm using the term honesty with Trump. Trump brought the honesty out of the evil that this particular party, leadership of this party, I'm not going to put it on the people. He brought out the honesty of the evil of the leadership of what this party represents. It is so important that we understand that. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.